All righty. Yeah, man. Oh, I got to hit a button here. Hold on, it's coming. First time? No. Hoo-wee! Hello, everybody. I'm John Zidar, Wizzy. This is the live streaming event where we're going to look at stocks that you brought me. I'm hot. I don't mean like that. I mean, I'm literally hot. I just got out of my Q option. I was $600 down. I got trapped in that bloody thing, and I've been playing calls and puts trying to mitigate the losses. I got down to the very last one, averaged it down 3 times. It was down $400 about 30 minutes ago. That last drop, oh, she's still falling. Yeah, I got out with $80 up. $80. That's better than $200 down. So I'm feeling pretty good. Why am I so hot? So can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Everything going good? I don't see anything here that says not. Great. Glad to hear it. So I have got the stocks that you requested prior to 4 o'clock. All the DDs done. I hear you guys were talking about DMN. We're going to try to squeeze that one in as well. We shouldn't have any problems. I'm interested in that one because I own it. I didn't actually own it. I was given dividends. I was part of that. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm going to jump into this. So I bought more. Way too expensive. And I've been averaging down. But I see somebody was saying that it was halted since 429. I wasn't aware of that. I've had an order sitting there for 10,000 more shares that just hasn't gone. And I just wasn't remembering about it. I went and looked at the chart and it's like, look at that. And I see it is halted. So we'll probably sneak that in as well. So let's see what the comments are. Video is 4x4. 4x4? What's that mean? Yeah, sure. Okay. Mark. Ooh, brother. All right, let's jump on into this, folks. I've got everything set up for us. First ticker we're going to take a look at. Yes, you can see me, or you can see the page at least, and me. How about that? All right, this should be over here. I don't know why it's there. This one came to us, surprise, surprise, from Mark Ryan. Mark was first in line this morning. I think I heard rumor he pushed Velmore out of the way. Velmore came in a close second. Mark Ryan brought us DRCT. This is Direct Digital Holdings. This is a company based out of Texas. Got some bullets here for my convenience so I can remember what it is I'm going to be talking about and so that you know what I'm going to be talking about in case I forget. This company is involved in advertising and marketing across devices, not billboards. They had a very high daily volume today. They've got a super small float. They do have an upcoming shareholder meeting. I dove into that filing to see if there was going to be any voting on reverse stock splits. No, that's not in there. And we do have one small insider sale, nothing to be really concerned with. So DRCT, she finished the day at about 85 cents. She was up nice, about 22%, let's call it. She jumped almost 15 cents. This is a hot penny stock in the major exchange. She's on the NASDAQ, which comes with benefits compared to those OTC penny stocks. First off, there's no transaction fees trading these. You can buy and sell your shares absolutely free, which can change the way you trade. You can sell in chunks going out. You can buy in chunks coming in, and it doesn't cost you any more doing that. You're not losing your profits. You can also trade pre-market and aftermarket, which you can't do with OTC stocks. You might see them moving occasionally, but that's not me and you. That's brokers and marketers. You also get a lot more volume and a lot more money up on the major exchange, which are vital if you're a trader. And you get a lot more rules. Those aren't for us. Those are for the company. Keeps them honest, keeps our investments safe. So what did I learn about Direct Digital? Now, remember, we're going to be doing a gloss over. I'll look at the news, I'll look at the fundamentals and the share structure and the charts, but we're not doing deep dive. So I may miss something. So don't count on what I show you to be all there is. I am human. Even AI make mistakes. So when I was looking at the news here, virtually all of the news here is about a lawsuit against them. But don't let that worry you. Man, I don't know of a company that hasn't had a lawsuit brought against them by investors. It's not a consumer lawsuit. It's not from a bank or something like that. It's from us. Somebody feels that they did something wrong. They read more into a news press than was actually said or something like that. These are normally class action suits. You can get in on them if you feel you've been ripped off, but most of them require you have lost a minimum of $100,000. So that's most of the news. The one piece of news they do have here, well, two, we've got a financial report that came out at the end of April. That was just a day ago, yesterday. And then they had a piece of news that came out today. They brought out their digital audio best practices guide to help marketers maximize reach in a rapidly evolving audio landscape. So I guess they're working with podcasts and who knows, maybe radio. I don't know. So that's what's going on in that situation. This is what the company does by their description. They combine cutting-edge sell-side and buy-side advertising solutions, providing data-driven digital media strategies that enhance reach and performance for brands, agencies, and publishers of all sizes. They deliver their advertising across a range of platforms, including programmatic, search, social, CTV, and influencer marketing, with extensive expertise in high-growth sectors such as energy, healthcare, travel and tourism, and financial services. The last thing is that insider, buy, sell, these are Form 4s. Form 4s are always filed when the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock, and they can do that in a mildred of ways. We're primarily interested when they buy them or sell them. You can dive in real quick. Up here in the top will be who it is. Over here, who they are in the company. This is the chairman, CEO. Right there in the middle is what's going on. This code is your giveaway what's going on. An S is a sale, easy. A P is a purchase. That's what we're primarily looking for. This was 8,700 shares at 54 cents. It's not a big amount. However, considering he only had 28,000 shares in the first place, that was a lot of his. Let me see. This sale was made pursuant to a plan previously entered into by the reporting person back in December of 2024. So it's not like they're selling right now because something's happening. They're selling because of something they signed and got involved with back in December. So it really has nothing to do with what's going on right now, most likely. I could be wrong. So let's take a look now at the relative volume for the company. Wow. Woo. Big jump. We went from 1.4 million as a daily average over the last 30 days up to almost 30 million today. That is a 10 times increase, 1,000%. Looking at our share structure, we've got a low float. Not that I have any clue what it is. Outstanding share count is about 7 million. You know the insiders are going to own something. You got to subtract that from the outstanding share count. There's our float. Well, I know our float isn't going to be any more than 7 million. Under 10 million is a low float. So we've got ourselves a low float, and it could be considerably lower depending on how many shares the insiders own. Market cap, we're at about 5 million. Financials, are they making money? Yes, they are, and it just dropped. They were growing at a nice rate for 3 years, going from 38 million, that's not thousands, we've got to add 3 zeros to any of these numbers on these charts, to 89 to 157 million, and then drop all the way down to 62 million. That's a huge drop. They are making profit, but of course that dropped along with their revenues. Quarterlies, let's see what's going on here. Ooh, they were back at about 41 million every quarter. Well, 41 million back a year ago. Did half of that, stuck to that for 2 quarters, fell below half of that in September of 2024, and they're maintaining that at the end of 2024. They did just come out with a financial, and I'll be honest, I have not dived into it, so I'm going to let you do that. Sorry about that. I should have probably done that. Taking a look at the balance sheet for the company. Cash and cash equivalents, what I call the bank. We got 1.5 million. Total assets, about 26 million. Total liabilities is higher, about 31 million. So we're holding deficit in this company. They're making profit, they're making revenues, but we don't get any of that profit yet. We're holding about 5 million in deficit. And I do believe I've covered all of these. This Form 4, right? and that was the vote. So yeah, I've covered everything that we needed to cover here. So let's go take a look at direct over at my playground, Think or Swim. It's my playground because I have a lot of fun here. I do. Okie dokie. Let me get this squared away here. All right, what are we looking at? That's the Q. We don't want the Q. Let's bring up number 1. This is ticker DRCT. Get my level 2 out of there so we can get a meaty chart. All right, let's roll this on back to a full year, see what's been going on. We got a lot of lines here. All right, I'm going to see if I can remember to actually bring these back. I'm going to take them down right now so that we can see what's going on. So she's actually been in a slight downtrend. It's probably bigger than it looks, but she hasn't been in a massive downtrend, but she's been deep underneath that 200. She took a big jump here, going from 67 cents, oh my God, to $6.59, folks. That was on December 23rd. Looks like we had 2 days of big running here. She came back down. It was a nice move. Even though she came back down, she was underneath the 200 haul. Now she got on top of it. She did slip back underneath, hitting this 52-week low of 44 cents. Off of that, she bounced. We are climbing. Even though we don't have any stockholder equity, people must see value in this company somewhere. That's what I see when I see a quick bounce off of a low bubble. She got back up on top of the 200 haul. She's now on top of the 9. She's positioning herself on the 50, which is the launch pad, folks. There's your 200 MA. There's your 200 haul. 200, same strength, same power, same authority. The price is in the middle getting squeezed. It doesn't like that. When it gets on top of the 50, it normally, once that 200 haul turns up, will shoot to and through the 200. Right now, we are at about 88 cents. That's up there at $1.91. So you're looking at a 100% run if that gets in position. And I think it could do it. Oscillators are getting stronger. Things are all starting to push up now on our yearly chart. Coming down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Boy, what a rip that was. Look at that. Our 200 angled. It actually has a bend in it. It is not a curve. She ripped there really quick. Actually, it says we had a high here of $8.45, starting down here at 50 cents. Oh my God, that's a 1,700% run, folks. And I have no clue. I'm going to do some due diligence later and see why this thing ran like that. Above the low bubble here, we had our bounce. We had a nice run. She got up on top of that 20, jumping from 53 cents up to $1.07. That's a whole 100% right there. Back down to the 200. She's bounced off of it, going straight to and through the 200. This is a beautiful run here, folks. And look what happened once she got over that 200. These itty bitty bars. Now we got humongous bars, and she's still pushing up, still floating over top of the 9 MA. All of our other MAs are approaching the 200. They're about to cross it. Those will be golden crosses, giving more power to the price to climb. All of our oscillators are pushing up, and we are just approaching the overbought. Now, me, I like overbought. I'm a scalper. I get into stocks when they're hot. So overbought doesn't scare me. The reason it scares some people, they think it's going to fall as soon as it gets up there. Folks, it'll stay up there all day sometimes. Taking a look at our 20-day 1-hour view, we've got to change the trend. That 200 was falling there. She went flat right in this area. She did a breakout a little bit early here. Came back up, and now our 200 is rising with all of the MAs above it in their righteous order, all climbing evenly combed. This is looking nice. She's come back. She's bounced on her 9. She had a wick come through, but not the solid bar. So this is looking steady. Looks like she wants to continue flowing upward. Oscillators. There's still some heat on the oscillators. They are coming down a little bit because of all this downtrend, but they are not cold. 5-day, 15-minute. Got an uptrend. That's a perfect chart. Got a low bubble in this corner of 52 cents and a high bubble in that corner. Who cares what happened in the middle? That is perfect. That high is $1.23. So we've got 150% run here roughly. Back down to the 50. Bounced off it with a wick, pushing back up over top of the 20 in the 9-day. this is looking like it's ready to run. The volume is very thin right now. I will say that, but it deserves to be on your watch list. She has got all of the other boxes ticked right now. DRCT. All right, let's just dive into the next one. You with me? Let me see. I'm going to check my comments over here, see if anything's wrong. Evening, don't forget to put your S in your R's. S and R's. Yeah, S and R, supports and resistance. Oh, can I get them? Hold on. Thank you, my friend. Boom. You the man, David. Yes, I got them all back. I always get confused. I have to catch up. All right, we're going to take a look at WW International. WW was played a lot by us over at Penny Boys yesterday. WW came in by Velmore. We like to think of WW as Weight Watchers. Do I have to tell you what they do? Okay. They work with dieting. They help people to diet. They sell food. They have coaching, dieting plans, and now they've got drugs. They've got big news. They have just had a collaboration with Eli Lilly for the injectable medicine that helps you lose weight. They are working together so that all the members who want to take part in this can. Right now, over 33% of the members of Weight Watchers. How many is that? I figure Weight Watchers has millions of members. So that's 33% of their members are already using the drug, having it mailed to them in single doses so that they can take care of it themselves. And what was the other thing? Well, let's see. We'll dive into it over here. WW. I've already told you what they do. They finished today at 72.72. That is 72 cents. She was down about 5.5%, dropping about 4 cents today. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. She's based out of New York. So this is the news that came out. I just did a video on this. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think I covered this yesterday along with SRM. SRM had a lot of volume, big time, over 1 billion shares. Weight Watchers streamlines member access to Zepbound, that's the drug. Zepbound vials with Lilly Direct Pharmacy Provider. Today, the company announced a pharmacy integration with Eli Lilly and company Lilly Direct Pharmacy Provider, Gift Health. The integration will streamline access to Lilly's FDA-approved Zepbound single-dose vials for Weight Watcher Clinic members with an on-label prescription from their clinician. With 33% of the Weight Watcher Clinic members now using Zepbound as part of their treatment plan, and prescriptions for Zepbound vials increasing by over 100% in the past few months, our integration with Lilly Direct's pharmacy provider Gift Health enables us to improve the fulfillment process and better serve our growing number of members who rely on this medication. Through this integration, we're enabling real-time prescription tracking, streamlined fulfillment, and transparent pricing, removing friction from pharmacy experience so eligible members can focus on their health goals. Now, they don't talk anything here about money. I was looking around. I didn't even see it in any filings. I didn't do a deep dive, but I was looking around because I was making a video. I don't know how much they're going to make off of this, but I'm sure they're getting a piece of the pie, right? And when you've got millions of members and 33% of your members are now using the drug regularly, religiously, and I'm sure more, I'll bet you it gets over 50%, folks. Because I remember as a kid, I heard that all the time. If there was only a pill, if there was only a shot, because I've tried every diet in the world and it isn't working for me. And I've got friends who have been big all their life, and I do know they have tried, they have suffered. And it's just not fair because you look at everybody in their family, everybody's big. So, it's not about eating all the time. Sometimes it is genetics. That's all the information we've got about them. So let's go take a look at the stock. Doing about the same amount of volume. 35 million is what she's been doing as an average over the last 30 days. It's what she did today. Share structure for WW. We got about 80 million outstanding. No clue what the insiders own, so I don't know what the float's going to be. But it can't be any more than 80 million and could be considerably less. Market cap, we're at about 62 million. Financials, Weight Watchers is making money. Oh, yeah. They're losing money? How's that? All right. Over the last 4 years, They've been basically around $1 billion. 2023, they slipped under. They were about 900 million. And then in 2024, they slipped down to 785 million. They're bringing in strong profits. We can't complain about that. At the end of 2024, they had over $500 million. Quarterly reports, see what's going on here. Well, they're roughing it. They're doing about 200 million every quarter. Imagine that, folks. It's like $68 million every month. And they're pulling in like 130 million every 3 months in profit. Looking at the balance sheet for the company, we got about 53 million in the bank. Woo. 550 million in total assets. Oh boy, 1.6 billion in liabilities. Wow. So look at that. We're holding $1.1 billion worth of deficit in this company. I wouldn't invest in the company. I don't like that. The company's got $500 million in profit, making pretty good revenues, and we're down $1 billion, me and you. Jumping on over to those disclosures. Can't remember what was over here. We got an SC13D. These are filed whenever a new investor comes on board, and they buy so many shares, they own a percentage. That makes them an insider. This is Galloway Capital Partners. They just got themselves, what is that? 2.2 million shares, is that right? Which is 2.8% of the company. Not a big amount, but it's an investor. Somebody sees value in the company. Let's see, is there anything else over here? ARS. This ARS, I was unfamiliar with. It is a financial filing. It's not coming up. Let me see if I can pull this up PDF. 2024 annual report. So if you're looking for their financial, it's not a 10K, it's not a 20F, it's an ARS. I don't know why. So if you want to do some due diligence, that's where you're going to go. Now it's going to be laid out nicely so you can find what you're looking for, but use keywords. Use your search bar and find what you're looking for without having to go through however many pages they got there. And then I looked at all these Form 4s. Again, these are when insiders acquire or dispose of stock. We're looking for purchases or sales. Neither of these are purchases or sales, so we're not concerned with it. So let's go take a look at WW Weight Watchers. Let's roll this back. Go to a yearly chart. So she too has been in a downtrend over the last year, though once the 200 got close, she made a move towards it. I mean, just getting close. She wasn't even there yet. That was a jump from 65 cents up to, wow, $2.20. So you're looking at over 300% run and eagerness just to get to the 200. Came back down to the 200 haul, bounced off of that 2 and through the 200, came back down again and bounced off the 200 haul, back over the 200 MA. That is par for the course. They like to bounce between each other and on each other. Then we came down under the 200, hitting a 52-week low of 11 cents, starting off at $2.35. And right off of that low bubble, she jumped quick and hard, folks. We went from 11.7 cents up to, call it $1.10. You're talking 10% or 10 times there. That's 1,000% run from 11 cents to $1.10. She's floating on that 9-day, getting in position for a breakout. She is over the 50, 200 haul, 200 MA. She's in between them. All this haul has to do is turn up, and it's going to give her a boost. Now, why does that happen? Because the 200 MA and the 200 haul do the same thing to figure out their lines. They take 200 days of prices and average them together. But the 200 haul does one thing different. It takes into consideration current prices. It's relating to the price. The 200 MA could give a hoot. It hinders the price all the time. But when the 200 haul is under the price and turns up, you can usually see a burst of energy go into the price and it start to climb wherever it is on the chart. So this is looking good. All of our oscillators are pushing up. PPO, our ADX, we got both our green line and yellow line at the top. That means our uptrend is strong. Our MACD is just crossed over with lots of green bars accumulating. And look at that, our RSI is already in overbought. Just coming out of it, actually. She is right at 69.70. Jumping on down to our 6-month 4-hour view. So we had a nice jump there, way up over the 200, back down. She likes to jump around that 200. Fell really hard when she fell under it, though. Once she gets under the 200, you can probably bet she's going to fall. She fell hard here. She went all the way from $1.85 down to 11 cents. That's a huge fall, folks. This is why you want to sell. A 10% loss only takes 11% gain to get back to even. But if you lose 90% of the stock, it'll take you over 900% to get back to where you were. 90%, you need a 900% gain to get back. Sell and take a little loss, folks. It doesn't take as much work to get back a little bit. So off of our low bubble, we've got a breakout. She has broke right there. Once she got up on top of that 50, our 200 was just going level. Hadn't gone flat totally, but it was already rocking and rolling. Once this started to climb, she was sitting on that 9 and just took off. Big bars, right? She's floating on our 9. Bars are getting bigger. She's come back down to the 9. She could come down to the 20. I'd expect that. I'd look for it, but she may not. She may hang on to this 9 because the solid bar has not come all the way underneath yet. However, it is dipping, so it's just common sense. Our 200 is now coming up. That is changing the game for us. All of our MAs are now climbing. That 200 is climbing, but everything on our oscillators is actually falling right now. Not hard, but you can see since yesterday's aftermarket, she's been pushing down. So I would not be surprised to see her come down to the 20. That's down there at 62 right now, but you got to remember that's moving. So watch for this. It could come through the 20, but I get the feeling with this strength right here, all she needs is support off of that 20. She bounced off it here, got close to it here. I think that's where she'll grab her bounce. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Crazy drop there. We went from 48 cents down to 14 cents. Yikes. Hit that low bubble, bounced off of it, but didn't get far. Went sideways, took that big rip, bouncing off of the 50. We broke the 50 right here. So that's my worry right there, folks. We have got, let me back this up so that you can see it a little better. Our 20 is coming down over top of the 50. That's a death cross. The 20 is the steering wheel for the price. The price follows the 20 pretty religiously. So that is coming down right now. So if it's coming down and our 200 is down here and there's nothing underneath, where's it going to go? I don't believe it's going to go all the way to the 200. It's going to hit something in here, and we'll probably see that on the 15 or the 5-day. So she is going sideways, and that's the first thing you look for. When you start falling, the first thing you can do is start going sideways. That is not falling anymore. Then you start looking for a change of trend. That is accumulation. That is, what the heck do they call that? Consolidation. This is when people are buying the stock up in little chunks because they feel something's going to happen. Right now, she is going flat. Looks like she's sitting on a strong support resistance right there. Oscillators, they're cool. Everything is going sideways right now, all flat. Take a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. Yeah, she's just dipped underneath the 200. She's underneath everything right now. She is underneath the 9 with the red bar pushing down. All of our oscillators are looking cool, not dangerous, but they're not looking warm at all. Looks like she is still falling. Let's see what our 5-day, 5-minute looks like. But she is riding that support we just put in there. We got a little bit of hope here. Our 200-day MA, which has the most power and most strength on the board, is just now going flat, right? Our price is pushing up. Here's our 200 haul. We've got to get that price up here, up on top of that 50. If it can get on that 50, I'd give you 8 to 10 odds that this is going to run to and through the 200. All we got to do is get up here. So that's what I'd be looking for on WW. We're down at 72 cents. It doesn't need to go far. Couple pennies. couple pennies up, 73, 74 cents. It will be up there. That will start to tug on the 200. And since we're on a 5-minute, it doesn't take much to tug these, and it'll pull that 200 up. And once it turns blue, I would watch for this to jump up to 77 cents, get up on top of that 200, dip back down, bounce on the 200 or the next MA under it, and then start to climb. That's my best guess with this. I think this collaboration with Eli Lilly is a big thing for them. Their foods have been a great product. Their plans and their coaches, that's great too. But let's face it, folks, a shot that does everything. You don't have to monitor your calories as strong. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to clock in, clock out, right? Just take your medicine and you're good to go. So I think this is going to be a big deal for the company. All right, let me take a peekaboo back here. See what the heck you guys are up to. This will give me a chance to breathe, get a drink, and some nicotine. JYD, huh? We've been playing JYD off and on a lot over at Penny Boys. I did a video on JYD too. I think she had a huge fall, and I was looking for a recovery, if I remember correctly. What else we got going on over here? I would never push a lady out of the way. However, I did step over her while she was sleeping in front of your door. Waiting for you. Okay, I'll buy that. You're funny, Mark. Really appreciate your research. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you being here. I know I don't get it all, but I do try. Okay, let's dive back into this. What time is it? 4:31. We're not doing bad. All right, I know I'm driving you crazy right now. This is an interesting one, and I'm glad we're going to talk about this. I really, really am glad that this was brought up. We are going to look at a warrant. Now, Velmore asked for a warrant, and I got it all messed up last week, but I got it right this time. We're going to look at Zcar's warrant. Zcar was brought to us by Dino Trades. Thank you, Dino. Zcar is Zoomcar. This is a online leasing agency in India. It connects people like me and you. I want to lease you my car. Instead of selling it to you, I'm just leasing it to you. That's what it's all about. We're looking at the warrant because it's a penny stock. Warrants are always a lot cheaper than the stock. What is a warrant? Who asked that? That's a good question. I appreciate that. A warrant, I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. It's a coupon. It's a promissory note. Warrants are stock. You can trade them like any other stock. Get in, get out, take your profits. No problem. But they've got extra benefits. A warrant allows you to buy a share at a guaranteed low price anytime you want in the next normally 3 to 5 years. So right now, these warrants are going for, it's 2 cents. Let's just call it 2 cents. The warrants may go live when the price hits $1. I don't know what it is, but maybe they go live at $1. But the price is 75, let's say they go live at $1 and they say you can buy a share for $1.25 anytime you want in the next 3 to 5 years. Well, when they go live at $1, you can buy them at $1.25. You're not going to buy them. Well, no, not yet. Wait, 3 years down the road, the stock could be $30. It could be. And you can buy a share for $1.25 for each warrant you have. This is how Warren Buffett makes millions of dollars. I'm not kidding you, folks. He loads up on warrants when he invests a lot of money into a company because he knows his investment is going to help that company grow. And then he can buy shares super duper cheap on the other end and make a whole nother bucket load of money. So Zcar W, these warrants right now are 2 cents. I own this. Disclosure, I have to disclose that. That is the law. If I own something, I got to tell you I own it. I don't own the stock Zcar, but I own the warrants. Now, I started buying this up about 2 months ago. It's been around 2 cents for a long time. I noticed, because I'm on Penny Boys, stocks between $2 and $4 that break out, go $10, $15, $20, their warrants will run. Not all of them, but they do run because they're worth something now, right? So these warrants will go, and I'm not lying, these warrants will go to 20 cents, 30 cents, $1, $3. Yes, they will. And now Zcar is up near, let's see what this is at. I think it's like 18 bucks. It was. It was up at $18 today. I think that's where I saw it. Right now, she's at $10.30, up 153%. Well, I started buying these warrants back about 2 months ago. I now have 20,000 warrants. I do. This is the wild part, though. When this warrant moves 1 penny, I make $200. Every penny it moves is $200. Now imagine if we go from 2 cents to 30 cents, or if it goes to a bloody dollar. Now I'm not going to hold it all. I'm going to sell some. My first sale was at, I think, 9 cents. I've got 2,000 shares ready to sell at 9 cents. And I'm going to sell in chunks as she goes up. I'm doing this on a lot of warrants. I have BNZI. I have AREB. I have JFBR. I've got a couple more. And that's all I do. If I have a day where I make profit, I spend $27, $30, somewhere between there, and I buy another 1,000 shares of one of those stocks. And I just keep adding to them. This is my biggest holdings right now. So fingers crossed. I was really thinking it was going to take off today when the stock hit $18. I mean, I was afraid not to watch it. But I have these orders in for 9 cents on all of them. So as soon as I hear a ding, I know to come look at that warrant to see what's going on. So why is this stock running? Well, let's see what we can see. Now, the neat thing is, when you look at warrants, there are no floats. There are a certain number of warrants, but it's difficult to figure out. Sometimes they're nice and will tell you how many warrants there are altogether. Sometimes they don't. Another thing you need to know about warrants, and this is sucky, it is, if they do a reverse stock split, it does affect the warrants. That warrant I said went live at $1 and you could buy them for $1.25. Well, if they do a reverse stock split of 1 in 10, now you got to pay $12 for that free share, that cheap share. Yes. So these companies that do reverse stock splits, it really does affect the warrants, but I think it's a dark subject. I don't think most people know that, and they will still continue buying the warrants. So these are things you need to consider. So we don't need to worry about the float, but we do need to look at the news. They did have a 1 in 20 reverse stock split. Ow. So we've got ourselves a real low float for the company right now, but it has affected the warrant. Ouch. And they had news come out at the beginning of April. Zoomcar introduces prepaid vouchers, confirms its India first operating model, unaffected by U.S.-India tariffs. Well, yeah, leasing cars in India isn't going to have any tariffs. Duh. So obviously they've got some prepaid vouchers here so you can pay for a leased car before you need it, so you can just grab it up. I don't know, you just walk up to someone's house and jump in their car. Keys are underneath the dashboard or something. I don't know. Anything else I got for this company to share with you? I got another button here. What is this? Material Definitive Agreement. On December 26, 2024, Zoomcar Holdings filed Form 8K. Right. They made a deal with a private company. I can't find their name here, to buy their shares anywhere from $4 million up to $30 million worth of shares at the company's discretion. You gotta love that. So if they need money for whatever reason, they can just knock on these people's door and say, hey, you buy a couple $1 million worth of our shares? Ding, ding. They get that money. It goes into their pocket. So we've got that going on there. And there's a lot more information here about that deal if you want to get into the details of it. So that is what we've got going on with ZCARW. We are not going to look at the stock itself. We are just going to look at the warrant. And I've already got it lined up, so I ain't got to do that. Yes, I got scared there for a minute. Looking over there. Thanks, Mark. I'm copying Belmore. I'm looking at comments, trying to keep in touch with you folks. I got a couple screens open here. All right, let's take a look now at ZCARW. Let's roll this on back a year. Wow, look at those bounces. Woo, boy, there's some bounces in there. Look at those long wicks, folks. That tells you these are day trades. You got to get in, get out, take the gains. So what are these bounces running between? Well, we're going from, let's call this $0.015 up to 4 cents, a penny up to 3.5 cents, a penny up to 3 cents. Folks, that's 200, 300, 400% gains. These one-day jumps right here. No, we're not getting that big rip that I was talking about, but that's still profit in your pocket every single day. And I may start having to do that. If this warrant has been affected and people aren't going to look at it as being attractive to actually buy and hold, I may have to start selling chunks just like it's doing right now and get out. Like we had a bounce today. I should have probably sold something up there now that I know, right? So we did have a big jump today, came right back down to that penny zone. That is actually it is right there at a penny. So if you're looking at this and you want to buy it, you may want to wait till it hits a penny. Look, folks, hit a penny, gets to 2 cents. That's 100% gains. And that is a very small move. Hits 3 cents, it likes to do that. And 4 cents, it's 300% gains. So be patient. You know, I play the options. I play the Q. I lost money on it today? No, I didn't. What a day it was. I was $600 down on that thing. I got trapped in some puts because it took off and I started playing calls and puts. Up and down. I was trying to get some gains in there to alleviate all those losses. At the end of the day, I was up $80. But I was playing bounces. Get in, get out quick. I'm not looking for long runs. I'm only looking for a probable move. I'm looking for all of the oscillators and the volume to be strong at the same time, pointing in the same direction. As soon as I see, and I'm going to give you my key, when I am watching the stock run up or down, what I am looking for is my green line or my red line. They will be separated all the way at the top, all the way at the bottom. When I see the bottom line change direction, just change direction. It doesn't even have to go far. As soon as it changes direction, I'm out. I'm out. Bink. I don't look at the price. I don't look at the charts. I don't look at the bars. I just get out because normally it continues going in that direction. So I've learned, because I play the Q so often, once it happens, this has liquidity. It never slows down. Once that happens, I'm out. So this would be a great one to play for bounces because she has so many of them. Let's come on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. God almighty, look at this. So our 200 here is all over the place. And, you know, to be honest, I don't follow the charts on warrants. They really don't make a whole lot of difference because it's following the main stock. That's its primary catalyst, not the news. You got the stock that has the catalyst and the warrant that follows the stock. So this is why I don't really read the charts. I can't remember the last chart I read for a warrant, but I do watch the volume. I do watch if they're all pointing in the right direction. But on a warrant, the direction can change like that. Just like that, because there's no liquidity. There's no steady flow. When they turn off the water, you have no idea how far it's going to shoot when it comes back on. And you have no idea when it's going to go off. That's why you take your gains with warrants as fast as you possibly can. Coming on down to our 20-day 1-hour view, we've got a strong run. She has been doing nothing, right? She's floating here under a penny. Warrants have a minimum bid price of a penny. They go under a penny for too long, they're in trouble. They are in hot water. They stay under a penny for too long or go too far under a penny, they'll kill the warrant. They will. Not the company, the major exchanges. They'll just take the warrant off the market. What happens if you're invested in it? Your money's gone. Gone. I've had it happen to me, folks. So just don't turn your back on any stock. Always watch them. So we had a nice jump there from a penny up to 2.7 cents. That is 270% run back down to the 9 where she's hanging strong, floating over this strong support with the wicks coming through it, but the bar staying above it. All of our MAs are starting to climb. It does look like it wants to climb, but its catalyst is not the chart. Its catalyst is the stock. So we're going to watch the stock tomorrow. Just a real quick glance at it. Lots of lines. Yeah, lots of lines. We've been playing it. Let's see here. Let's just go back to the 4-hour chart. Wow. So she's been in a downtrend. I don't see any reverse stock splits here, but I know she's had one. I don't see a purple bubble, but look at the high bubble. So, oh, right. We just did a 1 in 20. My bad. We had a 1 in 20 reverse stock split, which was absorbed into the chart. They multiplied every price on the chart by 20. You've got to divide $744 by 20, assuming that that's the only reverse stock split. If there's multiple reverse stock splits, they compound each other. If they have a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 20, it's not 30. It's 10 times 20. That's a 200. And you got to multiply everything by 200. Go look at Mullen's price. She's had 5 reverse stock splits. I think her high is something like $40 billion right now. I'm not kidding. The high bubble reads $40 billion. Now, what sense does that frickin' make? Why not just put a green bar on the chart and let it stick there? That's reality. That's real. Why have all this fake stuff? All right, so let's come on down to something we can read here. 10-day, 30 minutes. She's been doing nothing. We had a bounce back here, but really, she has these little bounces day in and day out, not getting far. We had a bigger bounce after market yesterday, pre-market. She launched today. And what was the catalyst? I didn't see any catalyst. I went through the filings. I went through the news. I did not see a catalyst. And she had a rip here from $3.83 up to $18. God dang it, folks. And I did not play this one today. I missed it. That is like a 600% run. She's come all the way down to her 20. She's bounced off it twice. The solid bars are staying above the 20. The wicks are coming through, but the solid bars are above it. Now, even if the solid bar comes underneath, if it is still above that MA as well, it is still considered on top of that MA. It's not under it yet. So this is not looking like it wants to dip down to the 200 haul and the 50, which is what it would do if it breaks this 20. I think it's going to bounce here. Oscillators are not agreeing with me. Everything is pushing down right now. Volume has completely disappeared by the end of the day. 5-day, 5-minute, she's going to hit that 200, ain't she? That's there at $8.50 roughly. I'd look for a bounce there. Put Zidar on your watch list if you're interested in that. But I'm going to be watching the warrant, considering I got 20,000 shares of it. Next, what do we got lined up? Now, this is an interesting stock. I had a hard time finding information. OTC has virtually nothing on this, and it's a pink, so we don't even get filings. This is Drew. This is Deliveroo. Who brought me Deliveroo? Deliveroo came from the Underdog. Now, I did find information, even though there wasn't any here. You go over to their website, you click the investor tab up at the top. They've got 4 things that are very current. We're going to look at 2 of them. That's where all this information comes from. Thank God, because there was nothing here. So this is a food and meal delivery company. Nothing new to you. They are still doing what we were all doing back in COVID, except most of these companies have disappeared. They're dealing with lots of different restaurants, lots of different stores, whatever it is you want, a fresh cooked meal or groceries or a bottle of booze, whatever, they'll bring it to your door. They do this in the UK. They do it in France. They were doing it in Hong Kong, but they said they quit Hong Kong. So what have I got for you here? Drew, based out of the United Kingdom, finished today at $2.25, was down almost 2% today. That equivalates out to about 4.5 cents down. As I said, she is on the pink tier of the OTC. This is the most dangerous tier, the most dangerous stocks you will trade. Pinks, for the most part, have no validated information. You get no filings. The financials aren't audited. The news, that's hype. The news is hype, folks. Take it all with a grain of salt. If you're really excited, great. Get in, get out, take your gains. But don't get in holding it for 3 months thinking it's going to go to the moon. That's how I lost over $40,000 when I first started trading. I took everything at their word, and that's what it's all about. You're taking management's word. So if you're going to do due diligence on a pink, there's nothing to study except the management. Study them. See what their past is. If it looks good, then you can lean on it a little more. But if it doesn't, stay away from it, folks. I'm telling you, I lost $40,000 dealing with pinks. They don't even have the 2 green ticks I'm always telling you to look for. a validated profile, and a verified transfer agent. We got no validated information. Now, Pinks can voluntarily request to use 10Ks and 10Qs. Not only are they auditing, but they're giving you all the information about their company. Hopefully, this company's doing that. I don't think they are, but maybe. Always look for that. So, what did I learn about this company? Well, just to show you here, jumping on over to the news, we have nothing here. Nothing comes up. Being a pink, we have no filings, and they're not using 10Ks or 10Qs. So we don't even have disclosures over here. Now, how can that be? You have to file disclosures, which are just your receipts, your tabulations, but you got to give us some hint of what you're doing with the money you have or don't have. We don't even have that here. So as I said, I had to dive on over into their website, and I've got two pieces of information. One is about their financials. We need to know that. And then the other one is a bit about, it's a brochure. I'll show that to you. So actually going through this information about their financials, they're doing pretty bloody well over there. It seems the UK does a lot more of this than the United States does, folks. And I'm aware of it. I lived in the UK for 10 years. I just came back in 2015. Delivery and food over there is a big deal. I mean, every city must have 30 to 40 home delivery restaurants. That is big over there. Stores. You can go to a store, do all your shopping, like Walmart's, do all your shopping, and then leave it at the store after you pay for it. And in 2 hours, they'll deliver it to your house. Because most people, half the population over there still rides the bus. You can get anywhere in the UK from anywhere in the UK because the buses go everywhere. So you can go to the store in the bus, buy your groceries, but not have to carry them on the bus going home. So this is very, very popular still over in the UK. So they tell us here they had strong growth in their adjusted EBITDA. This is earnings before interest, taxes, deductions, and amortization. I can't say that word. They were up 52% to 130 million pounds, which is up from 85 million back in 2023. Profit for the year is 3 million. Check this out though, compared to a loss of 32 million last year. 32 million. So that's a huge run from negative 32 to positive 3. So 3 million don't sound like much, but boy, did they cover some ground. Free cash flow, they've got 86 million pound. Now I'm impressed by this. They've had a lot of shares being bought back. 30 million pound worth of share purchases completed, 90 million pound and 150 million pound of share buybacks completed in 2024 for a total of 550 million pounds, which is about $600 million. The pound's worth a little bit more than the dollar since 2023. So that is shareholder value. I do like to see that. There is more information here. If you want to dive into this, as I said, you can find it over at their website. What they've also got over there is a brochure, which they call a deck. This tells you everything the company is involved with, from their financials. There's a breakdown of what we were just looking at, to their revenues. There's a lot of information here about their revenues. And that's really why I'm here, because I wanted to show you something that impressed me. They just made $3 million profit. Now, I was looking at their revenues, and they don't set them up as easy, but it looks like they did about $7-8 million in this last quarter. Well, look at their projections for 2025. Expected to be in the range of 170 to 190 million. Well, if you're doing 3 million in a quarter, that would come out to 12 million at the end of the year. They're expecting some huge growth. Now, as I was reading this, they were talking about other arrangements with other restaurants and stores. So, Iceland, that's my favorite store. It is a huge store, and all they sell is frozen food. Aisle after aisle after aisle after aisle of frozen food. Unbelievable, folks. But you know what the problem is? They don't have freezers over in Scotland. No. You know how big their fridges are? Those ones you find in motels. Those half pints. Our refrigerators are called American fridges, and nobody owns one of those over there. You got to be posh. You got to be rich to have one of those. So if you really want to know what's going on with this company, this is what you want to dive into, folks. It's got all the information for you. So what was the relative volume around Droof today? Ooh, not too good, but it is actually better. It's up about 50% from what she's been doing, jumping from 4.7 million shares up. Not millions, no. 4.7 thousand shares. That's one purchase. And it jumped up to 6.7 thousand shares today. Two purchases. I don't know how many purchases. I'm just playing. Looking at the share structure for the company. Oh, right. That's why I was looking for the financials. That's how I ended up in them. I was trying to see what the share count was. I did dive over to Google. That's right. I can see it in my mind. Google said that they have over 1.5 billion shares outstanding. I don't have a clue what the float is, but I guarantee you it ain't going to be low. No way. So we've got a huge float, whatever it may be. Financials for the company. They don't tell us anything over here. That's why I had to go dive into that too. Nothing annually, nothing quarterly. We don't even get a balance sheet over here. So we got no news, no financials, no filings, no money. Bloody hell. And we've already looked at the disclosures. So all we got left is the chart. Let's go take a look at Droof. What a name, Droof. Looking at Droof, there's Droof. All right, let's roll this back. Doesn't look like she's doing a whole lot of much. God, that's a yearly chart. That looks like 20-day chart to me. So over the last year, she's really been doing nothing until March. That's when she took her dip. And then at the beginning of April, she started to run up. So for all of this time, she wasn't doing anything but bouncing between $1.59 and $2.10. That's roughly where she was living. Our 200-day was coming down. Our 200 was rising. It dipped underneath everything here. And then right here, folks, she broke out with some strong volume, some strong activity, everything. And I don't know why she has taken off. She is going sideways now, way above our 9-day MA. I don't like that. I expect that to come back down to the 9-day MA, to be honest. We're up there at 228. That's down here near $2. So I'd be looking for a dip just because of that. Our oscillators, well, we do have a lot of heat here. Most of them are climbing. PPO, our ADX, and our MACD, but our RSI is pulling back, but it's still warm. It's still up there at 63. Take a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. It looks the same. Again, though, we are still too high above the 9. Now, rather than fall on that 9, which is a bigger drop, I think it'll come down to this 9, the closer MA. Now we're down to $2.14. Oscillators here, same thing. We have strong PPO, ADX, and MACD, RSI falling. Now it's down to 58. Our MAs here are not looking bad. Where's our 200? We don't have a 200 here, folks. Our 50-day MA is king of the board on our 4-hour, and it is climbing right now with the 20-day, the steering wheel, coming across to 50 right now, which is going to be also a golden cross. This could give a burst to this price. Put a wick, just a wick down there, and then bounce off of it. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Sideways activity for 4 days, waiting for this 20. Right? She bounced off of that 20, which is the strongest MA on this board. On our 1-hour chart, we have nothing bigger than the 20. Once she got on top of the 20, she took off, hitting a high, and then going sideways, holding her gains, not coming back down to the 20, waiting for the 20 to come to her. That means she probably wants to climb. That's an indicator. We're going to watch for a bounce here. Everything is holding strong. Our oscillators give us no help at all. Everything is flat as a pancake. Looking at our 5-day, 15-minute, we're dipping underneath our 20-day, which is our strongest MA on our 15-minute chart. Oscillators, everything is a bit cool now. Everything is actually dipping down. I'm actually thinking this has a chance of coming back up. We don't see a lot of catalysts. We don't see a lot of reason for it to come back up, but she does have a hint of it. I'm not going to actually put it on my watch list. You could put it on yours. I don't think she's going to fall, but she looks like she has a tendency to go sideways for long periods of time. Though right now she is in a change. She's doing something different here recently, so you may want to watch her. Okay, do I have anything else prepared? I don't think I do. No, I don't, but I did have a stock I wanted to talk about because you guys were talking about it. Let's see, John, please remember that warrant expires, so when they're buy, checks that expire. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Let me see if I can point that out to you folks. Coming back over to here. Let's see, we got a warrant on this one? No, we got to go to the warrant. Okay. Darn it. It doesn't say it there. Normally it'll say it right up underneath here. Right up underneath there, it'll tell you when the warrants will expire. I think these are 2026, I think. And I noticed one of the warrants I was buying do expire in July of 2025. So I got to get rid of those before 2025, or else I'm going to lose my money. They'll just disappear and I'll lose my money. So you're right. I appreciate that, Belmore. You do have to pay attention to warrants if they've had reverse stock splits, if they've had expiration dates that are closing in on them. But again, if you see it running, you could make a quick play on it. I am holding these because all of the stocks I was looking at look to be in the zone of warrants that could break out. Okie doke, let's see. All right, I am going to jump on into DMN, folks. I seen back here, let me get rid of that. Back here, you guys were talking about DMN. I have a lot of theories. I think the shares are gone and they had something going on with XTIA some months back. Thinking, sorry, and then sober. All right, I can't remember all the information here, but I do remember quite a lot of it. DMN. No, DMN. DMN. Damon Motors. I can't remember the parent company. It was a while ago. I played this. They had a lot going on, the parent company did. First, they had a spin-out. That was Damon. But it wasn't Damon back then. It was one of their subsidiaries was being spun out onto the NASDAQ. Once it got onto the NASDAQ, they were going to do a merger with Damon. Damon makes electric motorcycles, big ones, 800cc, 1000cc, stuff like that. I do believe they're already created, they're already made. I do believe they are taking pre-orders for them right now. We'll check and see. I don't think they have any revenues on the books. The parent company also had another deal going on where the main company was doing a merger deal with XTI, I think it was. This is one of those newfangled airplanes that looks like a drone and flies. I do believe that's what that was. Damon gave dividends out as soon as that merger was done. I got dividends. Not a bunch. It was like 110 or something, which isn't enough to trade. That's for bloody sure. And they weren't worth anything when I got the things. You can see the price right now is at 0075. I think when I got them, they were 001 or something. No, they were a penny and a half or something. And I thought it was going to do something, so I bought more. And I bought 10,000 shares at a penny and a half. Ouch. Ouch. She fell all the way down, folks, down to, I know she went down to 004 because I bought 20,000 more at 004, trying to average down. And then I put in an order for another 10,000 at 008. And I've been waiting. I didn't know she was halted. Halted. Tells you right there. It's been halted since April 29th. So let's see what we can learn about this company now. Relative volume. She's been doing high volume before she was halted. Over the last 30 days, it was 371 million shares a day. Now remember, you get a lot of shares sold at these cheap prices, but it's not being ignored by any means. Share structure for the company. Ooh, that's nice. We have got 22 million shares outstanding. You know, the insiders for a brand new company are going to own something. Subtract that. That's going to give us our float. We could have a low float, but even if we don't have under 10 million, as far as I'm concerned, anything here and down, that's low float. We've got a real good float here. Market cap, my God, $83,000. Wow. And they're on the NASDAQ at this price and with that market cap. How is that possible? I don't know how they've been sticking on the NASDAQ. How did they come on at this price? I'm a little bit confused here. Taking a look at the financials for the company, as I said, all right, they do have some money coming in. I haven't been keeping up. As of June 2024, they had $336,000. They put out $82,000 for that, so they got to keep about $250,000. Quarterly, that was their last revenues back in 2024. I don't know if they've had anything else come out. They did $49,000. They got to keep about half of that. Looking at the balance sheet for the company, not much money in the bank for a brand new company. $788,000. Total assets, $16 million. Oh, come on. Liabilities, almost $20 million. So we're holding stockholder deficit here of $3.2 million. Got a wee bit of revenues, a wee bit of profit, and we got deficit of about $3.2 million. Disclosures. All right, 424B3. Isn't this about a meeting? I think this is a stockholder meeting. Oh, shelf offering. Bloody hell. All right, so there goes our low float. Do they have a date here? Prospectus, March 20th. It's a shelf offering, folks. They're putting a lot of everything on the market. Common shares, warrants, units. They're going to be putting 126 million units on the market. Units are package deals. You get a share and you get a warrant. Sometimes you only get a part of a warrant, a half or a third of a warrant. So you got to have 3 shares to get 1 warrant. So we're going to have a ton of shares coming onto the market, folks. 126 million shares. And right now we got 22 million. Bloody hell. Let's see. They actually have a date here. I really want to know when these were going to be put on the market. I don't see anything here, but I'll tell you, you do know when it happens. It hasn't happened yet. You're going to see a form here that says effect. Effect is just the gun shooting off. Go. You can start selling your shares. So as soon as we see an effect, that's when the shares are being sold. Now, some companies actually run when they have these shelf offerings. Most companies fall. I'm not quite sure what this one's going to do. Lots of shelf offering filings there. We got an 8K, a material change. Okay, notice of delisting. Oh boy, what's this? I know you're under everything. So what's the problem? NASDAQ determined the company's issuance of securities pursuant to the underwriting March 20th, particularly the Series A warrants. They're putting these warrants on the market in a wrong manner. I don't know the right way you do it, but they've done something wrong with the shelf offering, which is probably why it's been put in 1, 2, 3, 4 times. They're probably putting it in trying to fix it because they want some money. This shelf offering is going to give them a lot of money in their pocket, folks, and it hopefully will lift the stock up. But we need an effect before it all happens. Anything else there? God, look at all these 42B3s. They really want to get these shares out there. All right, that is all we've got for DMN. We're going to look at a halted chart, folks. I didn't know it was halted. Taking a look at DMN. Oh, look at that. Halted on a climb. All right, let's go back to when she came on the market. She came on November 18th of last year. Looks like she came on at about $4 and she fell down to a low of $2.40 and she hit a high of $4.95 and then she fell and fell and fell. Think about that now. From $4 where she came on the market to a penny, 2 cents, 3 cents. Are you kidding me? Wow. And she hasn't been hit with being underneath a buck. I don't know why, folks. That's really curious to me. On our yearly chart, she isn't doing a whole lot. She is trying to climb, but you really can't see much on that chart. So let's come on down to our 4-hour. Man, am I going to have to get rid of these lines? Bloody heck. I think I can zoom in on that. All right, we were in the midst of a 200 squeeze when she got halted on the last day, the second to last day in April. She was down here. Boy, oh boy. You had about 3.5 cents. She was stopped at 8 cents. Oh, she hit a high of, no, it's not 8 cents. I'm sorry, folks. All these bloody zeros. Bloody hell. 003 up to 008. And that is where she's basically stopped at 0075 in an uptrend over top of the 50 with the 200 haul climbing, 200 MA falling, 200 squeeze. She was ready to break out right when they halted her. Oscillators, we got a lot of heat sitting up there right now, folks. Everything is stopped hot. The flames are just frozen in midair. Coming down to our 1 hour, look at that. Before I zoom in, you can see she ignored her breakout right there. When the 200 got close, she did not do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4 days of nothing. We did have a bounce here. She was coming alive. That's when you may have wanted to start watching her. She got up on top of the 200, dipped underneath the 200, hitting a strong support. She's off and running. She went from 3.8 cents to that 003 to 008 and is still climbing. Looking strong, folks. Now, what's she going to do when she come back on the market? I don't know. She's been halted for too long. There's no momentum built up anymore. Everything is froze. There's no volume waiting to come back on. So something is happening, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why she is halted this long. We didn't see anything except the only thing I can think of here, and I've not seen it before, but this is doing a lot of things I've not seen before. All those 4-3-Bs, there were a lot of them at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month. And the 8Ks are saying, you're doing something wrong. You can't sell those warrants. That's wrong. You're going to be making money illegally. They may have shut her down. You know what? Let me take a peek here. If this got halted on the 29th, what do we have happening, say, the 29th? Look at this. 4B3s, folks. I'm betting that is what it is here. Come on. This one has to do with the promissory note. I don't know why that would do anything. It says it was executed. Let's see if there's anything else here on the 29th. No, that was actually on the right there. All right, that's a big investor. There's nothing wrong with that. An SC13G, this is somebody who's bought enough shares, they own a percentage of it. They bought 10% of the company the day before they got halted. I don't see any reason. I don't see anything here. We go right up to 4. See, it stops. There's nothing here, folks. Just those 42B3s. I think they got caught doing something illegal. It's not just bad, it's wrong, and they've been halted. And they are trying to fix it, but they haven't fixed it yet. So I think when they come back on the market, this is going to be fixed. They're going to have their shelf offering. We're going to have a flood of shares coming onto the market, and our low float will be gone. That's the way I see it. All right. Hey, did you notice my foliage in the back? 'Tis the season. Waiting for May 10th. We're going to get these plants out, legal in my state, although I do have a few more than is rightfully legal. I've already plucked all of my males. These are autos. They've all got flowers coming up right from the start. I got buds on all of these bad boys before they even start growing. Yes, sir. So what time is she? 5:14. Let's see if I've missed anything over here. May 20th, DMN hearing. Really, May 20th, DMN hearing. Is that with the NASDAQ? Probably about those shares. I got in at 0037 and can't sell to ride free shares. Yeah, well, doesn't always work out the way you want. John, you forgot to bring the screen back. Taylor, we need you. I'm sorry. Boo. I'm not even sure which screen it was now. Ah, God dang it. I need the drink. I need the smoke. I need. All right, just roaming through your comments here, seeing what stocks you guys are talking about. DMN, yeah, we were talking about that one. Zcar. No extra stocks here. Really? Okay. Oh, what's that? Next week, hopefully, we check out Mobex. They've been quiet for a while. I'll be looking for Mobex next week. We'll see. All right, folks, I'm going to call that a day. My voice is getting a bit pushed. Obviously, I'm making mistakes now. We don't want that. I appreciate you tolerating my boobiness. I do a lot of stuff like, God dang it. Sorry. Hair everywhere. And I hate it in my mouth. Ain't nothing worse than eating something and getting hair in your mouth. I did not just say that. All right, it's time to go. It is time to go. I appreciate you being here, folks. Thank you for participating in my show and making this possible. Thanks for following me. I really, really do like doing this. I just wish I did it better. Taylor, I did give her an invite, just so you know. So next week, I'll invite Taylor again. I'll be here again, and I'll try to do my best again. Hopefully, you'll be here again. See you next week, folks. Bye-bye. Okay.